Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the Book It, the Wrestling Promoter card game video tutorial. My name is Paul Laporte, and in this video we are looking at the final phase of a turn of Book It, and that is the cleanup phase. This is just where we kind of put everything back to the way it was and get ready for the next turn of the game. The first thing we have to do is take these tokens here and then just kind of push them off to the side. If you're in Tabletop Simulator, you can delete these tokens or just put them off somewhere. Again, if you're playing at home, these tokens are not required. They're not included with prototype or in the print and play versions. So you can use dice, or you can keep track on a piece of paper, or you can keep track of everything in your head if you want. But just move these off if you're using them. Now, once we've done that, we have to take any of the wrestlers that we have booked on our show and return them to the talent pool. So again, these wrestlers do not stay in our deck for the remainder of the game. This is not your traditional deck building game. I like to sometimes refer to it as a dynamic deck building game where your deck is kind of always in a state of flux based on the cards you're playing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take these 4 hardcore wrestlers. We're going to just group them together, and then we're going to return them to the talent pool. So these guys are going back where they came from. We're going to go ahead and take this marketplace as well at this time, and then we're going to return all these guys to the talent pool as well. You can do this at the end of the signing phase if you need the table space. You don't have to do that here, but we just want to make sure that everybody who either was in the marketplace or was booked on a show goes back to the talent pool. Now, if you have independent wrestlers that you have signed in your hand or in your roster that you did not book in a match, then they would remain in your deck until you actually feature them on your show. It's the idea that, hey, maybe they weren't able to make this show, but they've committed to making another show for you somewhere down the line. They will stay in your deck. They will stay on that roster of yours until you've actually put them in a match. So that's just something to consider once you start signing more wrestlers and having more of them in your roster each turn. Our remaining local wrestlers, they get grouped up. We'll put them kind of back here next to our promotion just to get them out of the way. These are guys that, again, stay in our roster for the remainder of the game unless something happens to them. They get injured or they get hit with drowning in bills and a journeyman goes back to a jobber. But barring those exceptions, they are going to be staying with you. Those 6 wrestlers will be in your deck, so you will have them to put on matches through the remainder of the game. Players return then their venues to the venue pile, whether you have them laid out like this in front of the board or if you just have them in a little deck that you guys are passing around. You can do that however you see fit. You take the turn marker and then move it to the next turn on the turn track. You take the wrestler's talent pool and then you shuffle that up nice and good so you can get ready to lay out the marketplace for the next turn once the venue phase is done. And then you pass the first turn marker, whatever you're using. We don't have one here, but whoever was the first player during the first turn then passes that first player marker to the next person, or if you want to just keep track of that in your head as well, if you don't have a marker, then you can go ahead and do that too. But it is the idea that the person who went first is going to go last in the next turn, so that is always kind of rotating around as well, so everybody gets the opportunity to be the first player at some point in the game. Once all of those things are done, then you'll move on to the next turn of the game, and then you'll just do the whole turn order all over again in the second turn. You will choose your venue, you'll sign your wrestlers, you'll push your jobbers in that phase, in the signing phase, and get your special announcement and dirt sheet cards. Then once you've done all those things, you'll book your next show of 5 matches. You will then move to the ticket sales phase and collect money for your reputation as well as the show you've put on based on the star power of your wrestlers. Then you'll go to the show quality phase where you will determine the quality of your show based on the work rate of the wrestlers in the matches. So the average of the work rates determines how good the matches are. You total up the match ratings, and then that's your show quality. You reference it on this chart to increase your reputation further, and then you go to the cleanup phase, put everything back to the table, shuffle up the talent pool, and then move on to the next turn. Once all 6 turns are done, everybody then moves to the end of the game to determine who has actually won. And the way you do that is first, all the players will determine where they are on the reputation track at this point. So, you know, where you've moved here, if you're at an 18 or a 22 reputation, depending on how good of a show you have put on throughout the course of 6 turns. Then once you see where you are in terms of your reputation, you will then total up the bankroll that you have at the end of the game. So however much money you have in front of you, once the 6th turn ends, you will then use that money to increase your reputation. Your reputation increases by 1 for every $5 you have in front of you. So say in this example, we ended the game with $28, we will increase our reputation by 2 for this $10 bill, and then we have 2 $5 bills, so that's 4, and then we have 5 ones, so our reputation would increase another 5 points based on our ending bankroll. Then, once every player has done this, the person with the highest reputation wins the game. If there are 2 people that have the same reputation, then they are both the winners of the game, and people on the internet will argue about which promotion is better until the end of time. So, that is, in a nutshell, the basics of Book It. That is the turn order, that is how you do each of the individual actions in a phase, and then that determines how you win the game. So when you are playing this game, you have to kind of decide a strategy. Do I want to have a promotion that gets a lot of reputation by putting on great matches, or do I want a promotion that makes a lot of money so I can have a big boost in reputation at the end of the game, or do I want to try and find some sort of balance in between those two, or do I want to switch my strategy at some point in the middle? These are all things you're going to have to decide. This game is very skill-based. Once you've been playing this game for a while, you are going to get better and make better decisions, and then the people who are less experienced or less skilled, they're going to have to try and overcome that. And this is definitely a game where the good players can really exert their skill and really pull ahead and get some big numbers. And if you're playing this game solitaire, which is another nice thing about Book It, is that you can play this game single player by yourself. We kind of just did for a turn. Instead of trying to beat everybody else, you're just trying to get the highest reputation you can. You're going to try and basically set a high score for yourself. We generally recommend removing the dirt sheets from the game. There's also a couple cards in the special announcement deck, like cross promotion, that don't really apply. You can remove those from the deck. You can refer to the manual. That'll tell you how to set up a solitaire game. But then you can just play by yourself and just try and get the best reputation you can to set a high score. So the game is versatile in that way, and that is Book It in a nutshell. Again, I hope you enjoy the game. I've had a lot of fun making it, and it seems like there's been a lot of people who have had a lot of fun playing it, and that is the end of the video tutorial series. However, we will do one more video, which is going to be looking at a full solo game. So 6 turns. So if you want to hunker down for the long haul for a full playthrough, then go ahead. Otherwise, you can refer to these individual videos as well as the manual if you have any questions about the individual phases and individual parts of the turn. In the manual, there's also a frequently asked questions section as well there. And if all else fails, then you can always contact us on the Book It Facebook page with rules clarifications, at which point we will be happy to provide you with all the answers you need. Again, thank you for watching this video tutorial series. My name is Paul Laporte, and I will talk to all of you soon. Have fun and happy gaming. Thank you, and goodbye.